Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. Today I've got an Element Optics Titan 3K rangefinder. Now this has come from Sportsman Gun Centre and it's a very useful tool especially for people getting into some multi-distance and long range shooting, because the 3K stands for 3,000 metres, which is the maximum theoretical range finding limit it's got on it. So take it out of the box. You can see it comes in a nice Cordura case and it pops out here. There's a little elasticated loop on the side there, put other things in, and you can of course click that over the top there. That'll fit onto your belt and carry it out, because it's not like a super light rangefinder for hunting, for example, but it is good for when you are, you know, taking on those long distance shots. So pop it out of here, and this is essentially what we've got. So this is the unit now. So you've got a rubber lens cap over the top here. You can put a lanyard on there if you want, or here too, to just hang it around your neck if that's a preference. There's an underside 1/4 inch mounting the bracket there, so you can put it on a tripod, which I would suggest is wise for the serious long range shooting. So it's a monocular eyepiece here. You've got multiple lift up positions for actual eye relief, and of course it's got a focus dial there as well, so you can precisely get the reticle and crisp image for your eye. Just under the flap here, which is quite a large rubberized flap to make sure it stays water resistant, you've got a USB-C connector point, and there's a USB-C cable comes with it, because this is actually rechargeable. Because if we work in the front here, flip up that little lever, we can rotate this all the way around, and inside there is an 18650 flat top battery to power everything for you. Now the reason for that, of course, is you want good battery capacity for the strong laser, and you do want to make sure you've got all day usage when it's running at continuous ranging, especially if you're scanning the environment regularly for new targets. So of course we've got an objective lens on the front for the monocular image, and then of course we've got the laser as well, which is obviously projecting out, rebounds off the target and gives us a reading. So we've got the USB-C charging cable. There is a very good instruction manual this, and you do actually need that instruction manual because it's not quite as simple as some are. Now this has got multiple modes on it, so you can set it up so that laser projects out and it will give you the first reading or the last reading or the sort of best reading. And the best reading is the one you want, because of course the most reflective surfaces are the ones that will give you the most accurate distancing. So for example, if you were looking at the gable end of a house at 1,000 metres, you would get a good hard solid surface to rebound from. Whereas if you're trying to pick up a 500mm steel gun at 1,000 metres, you've got a smaller target. So of course if you hold that button down here and put it into scan mode, you can then ping it until the target pops on you. Those modes are all available within from a long hold on this second mode button here. But the other options you can have on this, you can have it so it gives you an absolute point blank range, you know, line of sight from you to the target your laser range finding. You can do a true ballistic range, which obviously incorporates the cosine angle as well, because this does have an inclinometer in it to calculate the cosine of the angle, so you get an effective shooting distance in that mode. Or you can set it up in the ballistic mode. So if I just have a little look through here, I can see a very clear orange spot in the center, which is my aim point and my reticle for focusing, and then there's 4 little green arrows that tell me when I've actually got the laser rangefinder in operation. And then below that we've got various other factors, so we've got things like the clinometer angle, and then we can also tie this together on Bluetooth with a smartphone, because if you then tag it with the Element Optics Ballistic app, you can program it for a setup on your rifle with your ballistics. Now, this will give you a true readout in minutes of angle or milliradians for the number of clicks of adjustment you need to take on that shot, and it will also calculate spin drift for you once you've set up that overall baseline parameter, and that will transfer over to seems quite easy and reliable to use, and that will give you that capability all the time. But if you want to run it live real time using the app as well, you can program in additional factors like crosswind, differences in temperature, all those kind of variables for more serious long range shooting. Now this is all explained in great detail in the instruction manual, which I found very clear and easy to use. The buttons are very tactile. You've only really got two to use. You've got the front button, gives you the mode options, and the rear button is the rangefinder. It sits well in your eye, and of course you can space it away from your eye a little bit more if you want to get the best field of view from it. And it's a very fast rangefinder, and of course if you put it into the ballistic calculator mode, it will tell you the exact number of clicks you need to take that shot on. Now of course windage is always a bigger factor than elevation alone, and that comes with experience in long range shooting, but this is an ideal unit. Now having it on the tripod mount means it can sit there all the time, maybe to the side of a spotting scope, and it can tag with your spotter as well, and he can tell you what's going on. But the other thing is, the rangefinder on this is a very strong laser, and I've actually had readings just over 2,000 meters in my local vicinity, and that's actually onto a tree line and woodland as well, so I'm very impressed with that and the strength of it. Of course the actual readout is very fast. It's less than half a second between click, click, you got the laser rangefinder, it's a straight return back. And so far the laser rangefinder is a lot more accurate than my shooting capability and my wind reading capability, because that is a huge factor in long distance shooting. Going back to the manual, everything's explained about charging, the battery, things like that, all the display, how to focus the lens, and of course the actual orientation of the display. So in terms of, you've got your central aiming reticle there, you've got your four little marks to tell you the laser's in operation, clinometer, you can have it set in meters or yards, you can set it for line of sight, equivalent horizontal distance or the ballistic calculator for the range finding, and of course the first or last reading on the laser itself. And if you have that switched off, it gives you the best reading, which I think is the best one to use actually. Battery capacity is listed here, and of course you can set it up in milliradians, minutes of angle, and you've got your laser range finding readout as well. All these factors are explained in detail, and if you do buy one of these, I'll put the link on screen to the description of the product. I would definitely recommend it because the instruction book is just so simple and clear and gets straight to the point. This is a description of line of sight versus equivalent horizontal shooting distance, which takes the cosine of the angle into account. And if you move through here, it gives you all the other instructions about pairing with external devices, which on Bluetooth is very reliable, and I can find frustrating on Wi-Fi, but Bluetooth is a much better system to be using. And of course, if you do have some of the element optics like the Hyper, this will actually also tag and tally with the Hyper 2 to give you an instantaneous readout. This gives you a little bit of a description here of working through the app, which I found actually very straightforward and easy to use, which not all of them are, and you can carry 4 profiles in there for different guns and projectiles you might be using. So really, in overall opinion, I think the Titan 3 is a very good rangefinder. Yes, it's a bit bigger than a compact one for hunting, but for when you are spending those long days at the range or shooting steel gongs at great distance, places like Chobham at Bisley or WMS Firearms in Wales, you have got that immediate ability to ping those distances and get a reliable reading out to greater ranges than you're probably ever likely to shoot. Right, I hope you've enjoyed watching that review. Please like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell and keep track of my regular uploads. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.